So we're here live at NYSCOSS. This is Leading for Deeper Learning, our podcast. It's a video, audio, so we get to do both. And thank you so much for taking a couple minutes to chat, and I'm glad we could squeeze it in. I know you got lots to do. Tell our listeners a little bit about what you're doing currently and your journey into leadership.
Sure. I'm actually currently the superintendent for the East Syracuse Manoa Central School District. This is my 21st year as superintendent, and I'm also the current president of the council, the New York State Council of School Superintendents.
So a couple things. You stay a little bit busy.
Very busy, absolutely.
Awesome. So 21 years.
21 years as superintendent.
That's a good run. And that means you've accumulated a lot of experiences and knowledge. Is there something kind of at your core, at the value level that has been true, that was true 21 years ago, that's still true?
Well, I truly believe that all children can and will learn if we provide the appropriate educational both systems, processes, and strategies and supports for each and every child. Right. That does mean that to a certain extent it will become more personalized learning, but it will also become learning that is rigorous, engaging, and where students really get to demonstrate their learning by being engaged in authentic experiences.
Right. So as you're talking through that, so much of what's in front of us here in New York through the graduation measures, right? The recommendations from the Blue Ribbon Commission, they inform New York Inspires, 4 transformations in front of us, portrait of a grad, redefining learning experiences, 1 diploma, the decoupling of assessments. I mean, in what you're describing for students, I hear leaning into that. Are you excited about what's ahead in that opportunity?
Very excited, Jonah. Yes, actually, and in our school district, we do actually more than lean into it. We actually demonstrate what it looks like. We have 8 approved, NYSCD approved career and technical education programs. We have our 9th that just went into the application on Monday into state ed. So that's a very significant, but we also have many other authentic types of learning experiences for our students. The reason why I'm excited about the latest version of A Portrait of a Graduate, I think it comes much closer to representing the whole child, which is when we're educating our children, we're educating the whole child. We're not educating just the cognitive part of the child. And I think that for too long, education, not only in New York State, but in other states as well, and particularly in New York State with regard to the measures, we became more and more mired in what students know. And we let go of what students are able to do. It has always been what students know and are able to do, and when we lose that connection to what they're able to do, we lose the applied or the application of learning in order for a student to actually have deeper learning. Yep. And so I strongly believe that we need to move in this direction. We need to move there very intentionally, very thoughtfully, but also with a sense of urgency.
Yeah, and I think something that you mentioned, which in the beginning of this portion around, not just leaning into, but living out this. I think it's really important to note. And anytime I have a conversation, this stuff is happening in schools around this state in different ways. These are changes that aren't new. Like New York Inspires is a label for us to codify, but like we've known that these things that need to change have highlight that disconnect between what you can do and knowledge learning. Like this isn't new. These shifts out of this industrial model of schooling, which doesn't value all of these different pathways, doesn't value the whole child, right? It was this singular academic pathway that we added like school things to, number systems and ranking. And so, number one, I need to come visit Syracuse, because I got to see some
East
of
Syracuse, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
We've done over 125 learning tours for school districts, not only in our state, but in other states, as well as from other educators from other countries. More of those were pre-pandemic, but we actually have launched them again because we do believe that sharing, as you said, these things are happening in school districts throughout our state. We need to be able to see them, visit them, share them. I am convinced that when educators see it, they know what it looks like, and that's when they say, we could be doing that.
And listen, we didn't even have a chance to talk before this, but it was a decade ago, maybe 12 years now, where I had a superintendent who, as we were thinking about redesign and school transformation, there was a portion of a grant monies that were left over, and he took me around the country to see 5 programs, so that I could kind of open up the aperture and see folks who were 10 or 20 years ahead. It's hard to design and build it if you've never seen it. And so I think, and again, we that was an amazing experience, got to go all around, but like, we can do that right here in New York, which is why I try to present and do this, to hold the space so that we can begin to share more openly about what's going on. I know you're super busy. I heard a number this morning, 70 new superintendents.
70 new superintendents in this, which is really a remarkable number. And we're here to support each and every one of those superintendents. It means that there's 70 school districts that are going to have a change in their leadership, and we're going to be supporting them. The other number that I mentioned this morning, or I didn't perhaps mention the number, I said the highest attendance ever at a conference for NYSCOSS. We're breaking the 1,200 mark. Really? And so that tells us that learning leaders are really important. And both. So we know that as leaders, we must continuously be reinforcing our learning, expanding our learning, deepening our learning. And what that means is that we can learn from each other.
Yeah, and I sat down with Chuck earlier, and I said, for me, I mean, the sessions and the learning, but also the connection. This can be an isolating job. It can be lonely, but just being up here in the market, having folks that I'm not talking to all the time, but get to connect with. It's really important, especially in the current context of the world. And so, in your work and NYSCOSS work through supporting new superintendents, 21 years as a superintendent, what advice are you sharing with new superintendents as they enter and try to lead in this complex world?
Yeah, well, certainly first and foremost is the development of the relationships with the Board of Education, the relationships with students, relationships with teachers, with parents, with community. Understanding that in this leadership role, that every decision that's made should be seen through the lens of how will this impact our students? How will this impact student learning? How will it impact student engagement? How will it impact student success? We have to constantly be looking through that lens. And then beyond the relationship is planning with regard to in what ways do we have a plan for the future, a strategic plan, a plan that's been really developed with our stakeholders, that this is about us engaging our stakeholders so that they have both input and they see the benefit of the improvements that we will make across the system. And then the celebrations, celebrating our short-term successes and celebrating our long-term wins and successes for student learning.
A lot of wisdom in the words that you share. Thank you so much for taking a couple minutes.
Thanks for being here.
Out of your day to talk with us.
I also think that it's very important for superintendents to understand the importance of the partnerships that we have with our learning partners. They connect us to the world outside of our immediate environment of education and connect us to so many different aspects of helping us to improve our learning. So that's another important part, and our partners are really very valued as part of the work that we do. in helping us in this journey.
Well, it emanates from how you all do these gatherings here in Saratoga, in Albany, and through LEAF. So again, thank you so much for taking a couple minutes.
Thanks, and thanks
wonderful
for
chat with you.
deeper learning.
Yeah.